It is a good thing to be skinny. It is a bad thing to be overweight or fat. Hello, beautiful light-skinned ladies. Welcome back to the channel. This is Dolce K. And hello to all the beautiful souls watching as well. Today, I want to talk about these two Black female influencers on TikTok who were nearly canceled by their own audience, their audience being Black women. Basically, what happened was SliimKim made a video saying she likes being skinny. She caught a bunch of backlash from other Black women. TikTok ended up removing her video. And then Alexis defended SliimKim. And I don't see that video anymore. I think it was taken down. But Alexis actually got banned from TikTok. She got taken out of the creator fund. Okay, so very shocking, especially considering that these two women are dark-skinned Black women. And I find this so fascinating because I do think that it has a lot to do with identity and skin tone as well, like plays a factor as well. But I'm starting to think, just based off of the way people reacted, that this thing about thin privilege or not having thin privilege, skinny hatred, I think it's bigger than colorism. If you're a Black woman, I think that it's definitely bigger than colorism. Now, will that be true going into the future? I don't think so. Has that been true in the past? No, it hasn't. But I think in this day and age, in 2024, somehow we have reached the point where this is actually bigger than colorism. Let's take a look at SliimKim's video and I'll come back for commentary.
My favorite thing to be is skinny. And I fear you cannot say that out loud, but it is my favorite thing to be, and it is my favorite fear to not be. And this is just for me personally. This is all personal to me. But I just wanted to say it out loud because honestly, it's all I think about. It's all I think about.
We all know that in the Black community, being a skinny Black girl is not the flex that it is in other communities. If you're in the Black community, and not even just Black American, just Black diasporic community, so you could be from Africa, you could be from the Caribbean, this is going to be true. If you're skinny and you're Black, you're going to get mocked by other Black people in your community, harassed, even have your identity challenged, because being skinny is almost seen as trying to be a white girl or not being a strong Black woman. Actually, the beauty standard when it comes to body types in the Black community is something closer to like an hourglass figure, very full shaped figure, a thick figure, slim, thick, those types of things. So I think it took a lot of courage for her to make that video and admit that she actually does like being skinny. Now, she said some other things that we're going to get into later, specifically about that's all that she thinks about and she has a fear of it. But honestly, nobody wants to be overweight. So why are people losing their minds? But here are some comments that also affirm her experience. Someone says, when I was skinny, I hated it, got mocked constantly. My favorite thing to be personally is healthy. Right. So getting mocked for being skinny is not something that is an isolated experience. A lot of skinny people experience that. Someone else says, same, I've been skinny my whole life. And if you dare say that out loud, people get angry. Yep. People get angry because they don't want you to remind them of their insecurities. This last person is actually very honest. She says, absolutely understand this and the fear of saying it out loud. I'm very overweight at 53, but was once a skinny girl. I hate it here. Wow, her comment definitely needs a round of applause because she was so honest. And I don't understand why honesty is so hard for people today. No one likes being overweight. That's just the truth. And people who are skinny actually like being skinny. I don't care what they tell you. If they are not underweight and they're not overweight, meaning that their weight is healthy, they are happy where they are. But what's good for your physical health, what's good for your mental well being, oftentimes gets thrown out of the window in the Black community, all for the sake of maintaining this ideal image of what it means to be a Black woman. And this woman is touching on that in her comment. She says, and they act as if being skinny is the Black girl's body standard when it isn't. A grown woman told me as a kid I needed to eat more because men want meat and only dogs want bones. Folks definitely body shame. Yeah, this is a very interesting comment because what adult is going to tell a kid to think about how men see their physical body? You shouldn't even be telling little girls about what men think about their bodies. Obviously, that would be detrimental to their self esteem. And this is what I mean when I say that in the Black community, oftentimes what's good for your mental health, what's good for your physical health, is thrown out of the window to serve the needs of some higher purpose that is a part of Black representation, what Black men want, what Black women should be. But it gets even weirder. I know in my day when I was young and growing up and I started to lose weight as a kid, other Black girls, they kind of compared me to white girls. So that's a common experience for most of us skinny Black women, where our community will compare us to white girls and be like, oh, you're trying to be white. But in 2024, things have gotten so much weirder. Let's take a look at this next video of this woman critiquing SliimKim's comments about being skinny and her new version of, oh, you're acting like a white girl.
Call me a hater, but SliimKim's video about how she's so happy she's skinny did bother me. And I think it is weird. I also find it so interesting that she felt comfortable making this video after the election, because there is a correlation. What we're going to start to see is so many people clinging on to whatever perception of privilege that they have as a means of advanced social advancement.
Okay, we'll get back to Big Yellow in just a second and listen to the rest of what she has to say, but this comment really cracked me up. This woman said, I'm being shown naked 500-pound women and being told to be positive. It's not that serious. And she's absolutely right. You go to the gym, you open up your Facebook timeline, and you see overweight, gross overweight, and obese women letting it all hang out. And I'm like, okay, that's fine because we live in a age of body positivity. So I'm not bashing anybody or leaving any hate comments, but this is what we have to accept. But you mean to tell me that that's not a privilege, that you can go to the gym letting everything hang out and no one's going to call you a HOE, no one's going to try to, assault you because you're like grossly obese and overweight. You cannot tell me that that's not a privilege. Someone else said, girl, where are we going with this? Because I got to wash my hair. Seriously, she went down a rabbit hole, which we are going to revisit. Also, I think it's interesting that she brought up the election and then proceeded to say, oh, we're going to see more people try to socially climb, essentially, try to actually use their privileges because of the election. Okay, well, before the election, women enjoyed being skinny. Like women all over the world enjoyed being skinny. And before the election, people all over the world have been using their privileges to their advantages to social climb. So neither of those things are new. But because this is a Black woman, SliimKim, making a video saying that she actually enjoys being skinny, now you feel like she's disturbing the status quo of some hierarchy, and you feel the need to radicalize it and politicize it because she's a Black woman. And she's not the only one who felt this way. There were other comments, even from like non-Black women, basically saying that being skinny is conservative, being skinny is fascism coded. This is why I say stay away from overly political people because they will try to politicize absolutely everything.
Things that give alt-right or alt-right pipeline potentially with little to no explanation. Sourdough culture obsession. Like, I love sourdough, but there's something there. Yeah. in my feminine aura, divine femininity, for sure. And that rhetoric's paired with like sprinkle, hypergamy, that whole thing is like a double homicide. And if that person is really into astrology, for sure are in the alt-right, whether they're aware or not. The beef tallow, raw milk, that whole thing, especially if they're into like wellness, that paired with like wellness, even like Pilates princess, clean eating, that whole thing. Yeah, that's definitely one. What else? There are the obvious ones like homesteading, traditional roles. That's a very obvious one. Um, Another huge potential pipeline is like alternative learning, like not just homeschooling. And not to say these are inherently bad, like I was a Montessori child, but like you can quickly end up in that realm if you're not careful. So, yeah, those are a few of them. I almost forgot super outdoorsy people, um, rock climbing culture, outdoorsy culture, granola people, also people that are always talking about an alkaline diet, alkaline foods, like there's something there as well.
What I find ironic about this take that random things, including being skinny, can somehow be considered conservative or fascist is that they don't realize they're trying to fit people into a category in a hierarchy that is created by a white supremacist group or created by an elitist group. And by doing that, by trying to box people into these categories on the hierarchy, they're actually upholding it. They don't realize that they actually are becoming Nazis themselves. But let's take a closer look into what fascism actually is. So, fascism is more than just a buzzword. It actually has a very complex history, and a lot of fascist parties and movements had a lot of differences from one another, but they had some characteristics in common, such as the belief in there being some natural social hierarchy and that the elites should always rule. And because of this, an individual's interest and individual's characteristics would be subordinate to what they believed was the natural social hierarchy. Natural social hierarchy basically means that you're born into something, you're born into your place in the hierarchy, or there's something about you that you can't change, you were born into it, and that's the reason why you are where you are on the social hierarchy. Not all social hierarchies are founded upon what you're born with. Some social hierarchies are just based on things like power or things like economic status. And in today's world, I think it's arguable that people can actually change their socioeconomic status. I think it's very easy to argue that and very easy to see that in at least America, but definitely from a global perspective, we know that people can actually change their socioeconomic status. And when you think about game theory and making decisions, like making large decisions for large groups of people, there has to be some sort of hierarchy in place or some sort of social hierarchy in place. That's why whenever you go to work for an organization, there is a hierarchy of roles and positions with someone being on top. Now, as far as if that's good or bad, I don't really want to have that conversation right now, but that is not the same thing as the fascist idea of a natural social hierarchy being based on like what you were born with or what system you were born into. Something that would be similar to a natural social hierarchy would be like a caste system. Okay, so that's really what is at the root of fascism. Being skinny has nothing to do with this. Anyone can become skinny if they put in the effort to do it. especially if they don't have an illness that makes it extremely difficult for them to maintain a particular weight or a particular size. Anyone can become skinny. So choosing to lose weight or to gain weight is not political at all. So in fact, it's fascist for these people to even argue that random things like eating sourdough bread or being skinny is fascist, because they are basically saying that, hey, you should not be allowed to social climb because of your unique characteristics. For example, if you're a Black woman and you happen to be skinny and you also enjoy being skinny, you shouldn't be allowed to say that. You shouldn't be allowed to express that. You should not be allowed to enjoy skinny privilege. The whole idea of social climbing is so that you're not trapped in a particular hierarchy, so that you can actually opt out of a hierarchy. That is the whole point of social climbing. Everyone being able to use their uniqueness, everyone being able to use their diverse traits and their talents and their gifts, and also not just talents or their gifts, but also discipline. They're using health, things like that, to gain benefits and resources that they otherwise wouldn't have access to, or live a lifestyle that they wouldn't be able to live had they not put in that work to change their lives and to gain different forms of capital, to gain social capital, to gain intellectual capital, and so on and so forth. So, what I find interesting is that the common thread between natural social hierarchy, the racial hierarchy that the Black Women Empowerment Group likes to project onto others, is that they are very strongly opposed against anyone trying to opt out of that hierarchy, or anyone not staying in the status that they should be in. Oh, you're a Black woman, you shouldn't want to be skinny. You're anti-Black for even wanting to be skinny. Oh, you're a woman, you shouldn't want to be skinny because of the patriarchy, so you must be anti-feminist. Like, this doesn't make any sense at all. In fact, it feeds into the fascist ideology that you should not be able to social climb. You should not be able to escape the category that that supremacist society is imposing upon you. And this opposition, this vehement opposition to people being different and being diverse and escaping stereotypes that were placed upon them by a hierarchy, such as the racial hierarchy or a natural social hierarchy, is the same type of thinking that perpetuates the one drop rule. The idea of the one drop rule was that no matter how mixed you were, if you had even one drop of Black blood, that you were still inferior, that you would never be able to escape that. And ironically, Black people online on TikTok are still perpetuating the one drop rule when they make arguments like, oh, well, at the end of the day, we're all Black, and so you're still going to be oppressed by the white man like I am. And while we can identify anti-Blackness on a global scale, that doesn't necessarily translate into this doomsday attitude that Black people are not free to opt out of or find a life that is unfettered by white supremacy or anti-Blackness. Honestly, what these Black women online are doing to SliimKim is they're trying to humble her because she is a Black woman. They're trying to say, hey, you're too Black, you're too dark skinned to be saying this out loud that you enjoy being skinny. Get back into your victim mindset right now. So here's an example of what I'm talking about. This Black woman says, I like my body versus I like being skinny as a status symbol and the privilege that comes with it, and I would hate to not be skinny are two different things. That's the problem. Okay, well, if you don't like people using their unique privileges to their advantage, you're basically fascist. You're basically saying that you shouldn't be able to social climb. You shouldn't be able to gain privileges and use them. That's wrong. That's like saying that, hey, if you are born and you're born fat, then you have to be fat for the rest of your life, even if you don't enjoy the way people treat you because of your size. Why would anyone do that to themselves just to make you feel better? Someone responded, said, my God, because as a Black woman and as a fit Black woman, is she supposed to pretend that the few things that get her privileges as being a slim Black woman isn't a reality? She likes her body, damn. And I 100% agree. For a group of people who online who constantly talk about how difficult life is for Black women, and especially dark-skinned Black women, I don't understand why they're so mad to see this dark-skinned Black woman socially climbing by maintaining her size as a skinny Black woman. Why is that so radical? Why is that so offensive? Because she's not staying in her place? But this is the new version of, oh, you're acting like a white girl or you're trying to be white. And I do blame the political climate. Now people are running with that talking point and they're turning it into something entirely different that rhymes with that same rhetoric. Oh, you're alt-right. Oh, you're conservative, you're fascist. They're basically trying to call you a white girl. They're basically trying to call you a privileged white girl and accuse you of trying to assimilate to that type of culture simply because you're skinny. At this point, skinny might as well now be an exotical feature, because I've seen so many Black women in the Black women empowerment space on TikTok drag this woman because she's skinny. Like, honestly, like, look at these women on the screen. You see how they're skinny? At this point, I feel like it's an exotical feature, because we already know in the Black community that being skinny as a Black girl, you get picked on and you get mocked. And I honestly feel like weight is so much bigger than colorism, because I can actually recall light-skinned Black girls who, they were undeniably Black, but because they were chubby or because they were thick, they never were accused of being colorist. They were never excluded to the extent that, other people in my family who were skinny were by the Black community. And then I feel like, on the other hand, when you're dark skinned and you're skinny, and maybe you have some quote unquote not stereotypical Black features, you're kind of ostracized as if you're light skinned, as if you're not even Black. And then obviously the worst thing you can be in the Black community is skinny and light skinned. But yeah, there's so many examples of this, of light-skinned women and dark-skinned women being excluded because of their size, because they got too skinny, especially light-skinned women. And it happens with celebrities all the time. Megan Thee Stallion is definitely an example. I mean, just look at the backlash she has gotten after losing weight, especially considering that it was after her whole thing with whatever that dude's name that ended up in jail for shooting her. So that just made things even worse. Like, people are so angry at her that she's living her best life and she's a thin woman. And then people are also angry at the fact that, oh, she's actually a light-skinned Black woman. Same thing goes for Ice Spice. Ice Spice recently lost a lot of weight, and how she got that thin, I don't know, but she looks amazing. And people are here dragging her because of her weight. Now all of a sudden she's not cool with the Black community because she's too skinny and she's too pale. And if you go back into the early 2000s, the same thing happened with Missy Elliott. Missy Elliott was dragged by Black women for losing weight, told that she wasn't really relatable anymore. She was selling out because she needed to represent, heavier set Black women in the media, and that was somehow her sole responsibility. When, she had to lose that weight for personal reasons. She was battling an illness. So these are just a few examples in pop culture and media of how the Black community tends to villainize Black women who lose weight and get thinner, as if now we're tone deaf or we're not relatable. And this is the same thing happening again. But like I said, history rhymes. It does repeat, but it rhymes. So this time it sounds a little bit different, and it sounds a little crazier with them bringing in these alt-right, fascist, conservative talking points. Like, what? Are you serious? Being skinny is now a political statement? But let's go ahead and listen to the rest of what Big Yellow had to say, and I'll come back for further commentary.
But back to SliimKim. She knows what she was trying to say. You know what she was trying to say. We all understand what she was trying to say. And I at least wish that y'all would be comfortable and stand on it. And stop trying to make it seem like we're just taking it the wrong way. Because the reality is, she's only happy to be skinny and, thinks about being skinny all day is because she believes that there's some perception, some privilege that's attached to her skinniness. And whenever someone tries to use privilege as an example, with me at least, the question that I always ask is, where in your life can you show me the benefit of this privilege? What have you accomplished as a result of this privilege?
It absolutely boggles my mind that a Black woman doesn't understand the benefits of being skinny, especially considering the health disparities that Black women face. But I'll touch on that a little bit later. Take a look at this comment. This woman says she thinks it's irresponsible to pedestalize skinniness on apps filled with young and impressionable girls. Nothing's wrong with liking being skinny, and I never said there was. I love it too. Okay, so if nothing's wrong with liking being skinny, why is it wrong to say that you like being skinny and on social media? Like, didn't you just said that with your comment? Young girls are going to be seeing your comment saying that you like being skinny and you love it too. So why is it wrong because she made a video saying that she likes being skinny? And then Black girls do not pedestalize skinniness. Most Black girls pedestalize being slim thick or, having a little meat on their bones. That's just the truth. A lot of Black girls are fearful of becoming skinny. All right. And then being overweight and obese is also normalized in the Black community. So if anything, a Black woman making a video online about how much she loves being skinny and having a healthy weight would be beneficial to their Black audience. And her audience is Black women and girls. So if anything, that's benefiting them because Black women are not pedestalizing skinniness to begin with. So this is just crazy to me. Another thing is, why is it always a content creator or an influencer's responsibility to raise these girls online? Black girls are not supposed to be being raised online. It's the Black mothers who are supposed to be building up these girls' self-esteem, giving them body positivity, and not body shaming them. Okay, so they don't have to rely on social media to find validation or external validation about their body. They can have that at home. But this is just highlighting that apparently is not happening in the home. That's why she thinks that it's actually irresponsible for content creators to talk about their own personal experiences and their own personal opinions about their own bodies. The gaslighting is so crazy, okay? Like, how is it harmful to say that being skinny is a good thing? It is a good thing to be skinny. It is a bad thing to be overweight or fat. To act as if being overweight is normal and no one should care if they're overweight. This nonchalance about obesity and being overweight is very dangerous. It's lethal. Okay, the risk factors of being overweight and obese include diabetes, heart disease, and stroke. And if you didn't know, Black people actually have the highest risk of dying from heart disease in America. And one of the things that can prevent that from happening is maintaining a healthy weight, also known as being skinny. Okay, no one's telling you to be anorexic. No one's telling you to develop an eating disorder. You don't have to do that to be skinny. All you have to do is maintain a healthy weight. So the gaslighting is just absolutely crazy. But to answer Big Yellow's question, that's one of the benefits of being skinny, is that we don't have to think about these risk factors as much. We don't. Even though we are Black women and the statistics show that we are at risk of these things, we don't have to worry about them as much because we're skinny. By the way, check out Exotical's United's video, Being Fat is Expensive. She talks about social climbing and the privileges that come with being thin or losing weight. And that's really what this discussion is about. These women are just mad because SliimKim has a privilege that they don't have. And so they want to politicize it and radicalize it. 4 out of 5 Black women are overweight or obese. Okay, if anything, we need more SliimKims and social media telling us that it's okay to love being skinny.
The part that I think is really going over people's heads is when she said that that's all she thinks about, because that's the problem in retrospect to the fact that she proclaimed that being skinny is her favorite thing, which is not a problem because that was a personal statement and it has nothing to do with anybody but herself. And if anybody feels a way about that, that's based off of their insecurity. Now, her saying that's all she thinks about is what alarmed me, because then it's like, that's not all you should think about.
So this girl doesn't like the fact that being skinny is all that SliimKim can think about. But looking at these statistics, I don't blame her. As a Black woman, this is a clear message that the statistics are stacking the odds against you. So you should want to be conscientious about your weight and be looking at that because of the statistic. Especially thinking about the habits that are passed down from generation to generation inside of the Black community. Like I said before, being overweight and obese is often normalized. So this is something that is hard to overcome. Any Black woman that accomplishes being skinny and maintaining a healthy weight should actually be celebrated. But also, can we normalize like being infatuated about something positive about ourselves? Like, can we really normalize that? I can choose to be infatuated about any positive feature about myself, even my skin tone. Like, if I say that, oh my God, all I can think about is how much I love the way my skin tone is right now, and I don't want it to change. I never want my skin tone to change. That should be acceptable. If someone were to say, oh my God, all I can think about is how clean my diet is, and I never want that to change. I never want my diet to not be clean. Or, oh, I love how much, all I can think about is how much I love being Christian. I don't know, anything. Oh, all I can think about is how much I love having natural hair. But you see, these people, they pick and choose what's socially acceptable to like about your own self. That's crazy. So this is an article. It was published in 2024, I think in January. And it was saying that Black people are almost 3 times more likely to be vegan than the general population. But now, after the election, everyone is losing their minds. Black women are on TikTok day and night, basically saying that all of these things are for white people, that being skinny is an alt-right pipeline, that being vegan is an alt-right pipeline, being a Pilates princess is an alt-right pipeline. And I just think it's hilarious. I mean, it's sad, but it's hilarious because we keep going into this cycle where we get access to opportunities and then we say, oh, you know what? They're for white people. Never mind. This is the new version of that. This is for white people. That's what alt-right means, basically. They're trying to say that you're trying to assimilate with a white supremacist society by partaking in things that give you real privileges, such as a longer lifespan or a healthier lifestyle or access to more resources or ability to ability to mingle with or connect with non-Black people.
Okay, listen to my rant because I'm over it and I'm tired of like playing nice about it. Nothing grinds my gears more than when someone sees me and they go, "Oh, you're so small, you're so tiny, you need to gain some weight, you so little." Especially to my people that are skinny. Like, I only weigh like 125 pounds. I'm like 5'3". I just got long legs. You get what I'm saying? That's one thing that grinds my gears. Like, people always trying to tell you, you need to eat, you need to eat. I eat. What if I start calling y'all fat? Then what? Now I'm wrong for saying you big. Because you keep telling I'm too skinny and I need to eat. And I'm too small. The same way that you calling me too small, I'm going to call you too big. So I hope you can take y'all what you dishing. Because I'm going to start telling y'all are fat. Yeah. Y'all skinny shaming, I'm going to fat shame you. And that's not even who I am. But if you're going to keep saying, like, you need to gain some weight, you need to eat, you can afford to push the plate away. How about that? Doesn't feel good, does it? Be mindful.
So before I close this video, I just want to review some final thoughts and questions that I had that I would love to hear you chime in on, because this is really shocking. This is very interesting. But one of the questions I had about the SliimKim controversy was, okay, if SliimKim was Anokiai's color, would people be as angry as they are right now at her? And this is why I was saying that potentially this is bigger than colorism, because I mean, I'm looking at her as she's a dark-skinned woman, but apparently I guess you have to be even darker than that to not be dragged for being skinny. I don't know, but I don't see Anokiai being dragged for being skinny. Granted, she's a supermodel, but if she ever came out and said, hey, I love being skinny and my greatest fear is not being skinny, would people drag her? I don't know. What do you think? And what if she didn't wear makeup? What if she was in an afro or she wore a bonnet or, something like that when she made the video? Would people still be dragging her? And then my other thought that I had was, I see a lot of Black women on TikTok going live to debate with other people that Black people cannot be racist, because racism is something that is systematic. It's only systematic, and because they're subject to the system, Black people can't be racist. Okay, so if that's true, does that mean that Black people can't be fat phobic? Because the data I just showed you shows that there's a huge disparity where we are leading in obesity and being overweight. And I'm sure that there are some socioeconomic disparities that contribute to that. So if Black people can't be racist, by that logic, Black people can't be fat phobic, because we operate in a system that encourages us to be overweight and obese. Even within white supremacy, like, you could argue that the system makes it inherently difficult for Black people to be skinny. So yeah, I don't know. What are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments down below, and thank you so much for watching. Have an amazing day.